From the beginning of Halo 4, there's been something, well, throwing me off about the Halo franchise. When Halo 4 first released, it felt like a nice change of pace, and my excited teenage fanboy at the time was overly hyped to see the continuation of one of my favorite badass characters of all time. But the game had a very different tone to it. Now that's not a bad thing, change can be good, obviously, but the threat of the Halo rings had subsided for a while, and now we were dealing with something completely new. We finally got to see a Forerunner, like, holy crap, it was pretty great. And I had some pretty excited feels during my first few times with Halo 4. It's about 4 years later now, and to be honest, the more I've played Halo 4 and 5, I've noticed something about the Halo franchise that is just throwing me off. Aside from the fanboyness from before subsiding, my mind was plagued by a feeling that I never had before when discussing the Halo series. Something was off. I got excited with Halo 5 and wound up rather enjoying myself with the story for a while, but still felt a little underwhelmed. And at the moment now, I can currently say Halo 5 probably has the worst campaign out of all of them, just saying, at least in my opinion. Now sure, I was playing a quote, Halo game, but that thought of something being off still consumed my mind through Halo 5's campaign. I mean, I was still playing as Chief, even though it was only for 3 stinking missions. The hell, 343? I mean, come on, you guys can do better than that, surely. And I kinda got to the point where I was just thinking, well, perhaps I just lost that original fanboy feeling. Oops, just whacked my keyboard. Maybe it had just been toned down, as I had been playing Halo for so long now that the adrenaline fanboyness I had before was fleeting. But soon I tossed that idea away, as the inner fanboy was reawakened within me. I'd completely forgotten about the famous legendary endings that Halo games like to dish out to those who beat the game at the level of difficulty that tosses me around like a rag doll. So out of sheer curiosity, I looked up the legendary ending of Halo 5, and if you haven't seen it by now, well then, spoiler alert, sorry. But it was right then when I felt it again. That feeling of wanting to shriek and run around my house because of what I'd just seen. There it was on screen in front of me. A Halo ring, powering on. I suddenly realized the fanboy inside of me never left. It was ready to return. The reason it couldn't was because for me the Halo games were missing something. That one thing that I couldn't quite put my finger on. And for years I couldn't figure out what the hell that thing was. And it bothered me until I saw the legendary ending to Halo 5. Halo was missing, well, Halo. Since Halo 4's release, the Halo franchise was missing that element of wonder and curiosity that the others had for me. The rings of Halo. These giant rings of wonder that we all knew really was there to destroy the segments of the entire freaking galaxy. Okay, whoa, that's heavy. There was an alien covenant that worshipped these rings and their makers, and there was a deadly parasite that wanted to consume everything. Now, I'm not saying other stories like Halo Reach or 4 and 5 stories shouldn't have been told, even though I think some could have been told better than others. But the real focus of the Halo games has always been dealing with the threat of what the game is named for. Halo. Not since Halo 3 have we dealt with any kind of actual threat from the Halo rings. That was back in 2007, almost 10 years ago. Sure, you can see one in Halo 4, but it's really just there for looks and teases you, and isn't any real threat. Halo 4 was a good wrap-up on Chief's character, but I think Halo 5 should have actually started the new sort of trilogy that 343 wants to tell, with a new badass character, which we could make Locke, which I can get into that whole Halo 5 story rewrite thing another day. I'm actually working on my own rendition of what I think Halo 5 story could have been compared to what we actually got. But anyway, back to what I was originally saying. We never really deal with the Halo rings anymore since Halo 3. I mean, those giant-ass rings that would nearly kill us. Not to mention, I feel like there was much more of a mystery behind the Forerunners before they were shown off. Now, looking at the Forerunners now that we've seen them kind of reminds me of like a bad horror movie experience. To put it this way, it's like when a movie reveals a creature too soon, and it kind of just takes away all of the suspense. Now, I'm not saying it's bad that we got to see the didact and what a Forerunner looks like. I'm rather happy we got to see him, but I feel like the more 343 has been trying to delve into having more of a presence, I feel it takes away more of their mystery. And again, don't mistake me, I'm very happy that we've seen what they are aesthetically, and that we actually got one in Halo 4's story. That wound up, in my opinion, working out for the most part. But, getting back to the whole topic at hand, Halos 1, 2, and 3 all took place on these large and mysterious ring worlds known as Halo, each with their own mystery. If you know anything about the Halo lore, you'll know that the Halo rings each kind of are different. They have their own sort of terrain. Installation 05 was more of a jungle-based planet. There are ones that are more tundra-based. There's one that's actually volcanic-based. That would have been really cool to see. And who knows what other secrets each ring would hold. And in some ways, each ring always seemed to pose as a threat. It's what each game used to focus on. Hell, the games are called Halo for a reason. Hell, I mean, you could really call Halo 5, Chief's Vacation and an Unfortunate Misunderstanding. And it could still work. Okay, not really. My brain filled with the possibilities of what 343 is going to do next, now that we know Cortana clearly is keeping her eye on the Halo rings. And that is what triggered my fanboy again. I'm ready for another Halo threat, because then Chief and I can stop it. Or things go horribly wrong and the universe somehow explodes, creating a giant wormhole that interrupts the space-time continuum and sending us back in time when Chief was never out of his cryo tube in the first place, thus bringing the doom of the Flood once again when the Covenant release it. But anyway, I think that's the one thing that has been bothering me, and possibly a bunch of other people, with why these Halo games don't quite feel as Halo-y as, well, Halo used to feel. God, that was a lot of Halos in one sentence. I mean, aside from the aesthetic, because let's be honest, the aesthetic for Halos 4 through 5, so 4 and 5, don't match really well with Bungie's past Halo games. But I can get into that a whole other day. But anyway, guys, I want to know what you guys think. Let me know if you agree with my statement, if you think the Halo ring threat should come back and be the main source of the Halo games, or if they should just kind of stick with where they're going and find some new massive threat for players to deal with. Thank you so much for hearing my thoughts on this, and please let me know what you guys think. Is there something about Halo that throws you off just a bit, aside from what I talked about? Or is there any other Halo-esque kind of thing that you want me to talk about? Thanks again for watching, and until next time, guys, ta-ta for now.